Welcome back, golfers. I'm out here in Tuolumne Meadows in Yosemite, California. And I was just doing a little bit of fly fishing, doing a little bit of hiking out here. This beautiful spot right here. Wrap it around here for you guys to see. Absolutely gorgeous. And today, what we're going to talk about, we're not going to talk about fishing. I'm going to show you a little bit of my fishing. But we're going to talk about casting in the golf swing. And casting in the golf swing starts at the beginning of the downswing. And I'm going to kind of show you in this episode how not to throw out all that energy, how to hold on to the energy through the impact zone so that you can get the most out of your equipment and out of your swing without throwing all the energy out. So this week I got to go out to Tuolumne Meadows in Yosemite, California and do some fly fishing. So as you watch me fly fish here, you can see how the energy is being pulled back when I pull the line out of the water and then released as I go through to make that cast. And you can just watch the angle of the wrist. It holds and then releases. It holds and then releases. It's like I'm putting a brake on right when I want it to release, and all that energy is released out. So fly fishing is one of those sports. It gives great feeling of timing, and it relates really well to golf. You know, the tempo of fly fishing is very similar to the golf swing, just back and through. It's build-up of energy and a release of energy. You're reading your conditions and you're trying to, create a picture, and you're trying to create a picture in your head of what you want to do, and then just try to execute in the best you can that cast as you're trying to, catch a fish. In golf, you're trying to hit that perfect shot. So when we go back to looking at the golf swing in that same fashion, instead of casting all our energy out here, we want to be able to hold on to the energy down to our pocket and then release it down by the golf ball. When we do that, then the club, or the energy we stored up in the shaft, allows the club to kick on the golf ball and release, just very similar to a fishing rod, where it releases the energy through the impact zone, and then we get the most out of the club. So how do we do that? How do we learn to do that? So I came across a really cool old video of Ben Hogan, and I'm going to show you that video right now of him trying to teach, very similar to what I've been talking about, how to get the club started at the top of the swing. So let's watch that really quick.
Well, the most important thing in a golf swing to me is the movement of the lower body from the top of the swing. And if you don't mind, I'll demonstrate. First off, you start down below with your knees and your hips. At the top of the swing, you move the lower part of your body, not your shoulders, the lower part of your body, letting your arms and hands follow, bringing you into position to hit. But this is the first movement there. Then you release at the bottom. If you don't mind, I'll hit a ball, and the first thing to watch is what starts first from the top of the swing.
So in that explanation with Ben Hogan, you can see when he takes to the top of the swing, if you watch that lead arm to the shoulders, when he's making that transition, it maintains right there, that arm to that shoulder. So that part maintains. So what he is explaining is he starts the downswing not by trying to throw the club, and release the energy out right there. You can see that box that we've talked about creating right here. We don't want to release that box. We want to hold on to that box in that right side. So when we take it back, there's the box. When we come down, we just move this hip to move the hands. When we move that hip and make this nice little twist in the body, and you can see my knee flex stays almost the same as when it started. then that box we created will maintain, and we don't have to throw out the energy, because as dominant trail arm swingers, which is almost every one of you, that's your pushing side. This is a pushing side. So if you hold the club and you try to hold on to angle, just with that side, you're gonna release it, because that little muscle right here is too weak to hold back that energy. Now your lead side is a pulling side, so that side you can, but it's very hard, that is your non-dominant side, to swing left side dominant. And you get most of your feel from your trail hand, your control, and your release, and whatever you want to do with the club from the trail hand, because that's your fine motor skills. So I don't want you to lose out on your fine motor skills and your feel in that trail hand, your dominant hand. So in order to get the downswing correct, to make the transition from the top back to getting our knees squared up, because the transition is here to we get basically our weight going from loaded it here back to center. So when our weight goes from here back to center, that's the bottom of our transition. So that process of just moving our weight back is the transition. So when we get to the top, there's our transition, and you can see my knees square up, my hands are still way up here, and now I can release the club going through the golf ball and hold on to that energy. So when you hold on to this angle here through the transition by moving the hip, we don't have to push away the hands. Doesn't have to push away. So I'm gonna give you a couple drills to practice that feeling of holding on to that angle and not pushing away that energy from the top, so we can get rid of that cast. So the first drill we're gonna do is a hockey handle drill. So basically we're gonna hold the club kind of like we would a hockey stick, and we're just gonna hold it there. And it just gives us a little bit more torque to hold that wrist from releasing off. And we're just gonna take it to the top, and we're just gonna move the hip. Move the hip. And when we're doing that, we're trying to hold on to this angle here in that right side. We're gonna try to hold on to that box. So right there, we're just gonna go back and forth. And what we don't wanna feel is this. It's very obvious when you separate the hands. When you do this, it's very obvious. So back and through, just moving the hip. And we're just moving to the point where the knees square up. And this is just a repetition drill. Just right there, over and over. And then once you get that feeling of holding onto that angle and just moving the hip, now bring the hands back together and do the same thing, right there. Move the hip. It's just a twist with the hip with a little bit of push from that lead foot, so it helps press the weight forward, so it gets our hip into our left side a little bit. It moves the V in our legs over with those irons. If you're hitting the driver, it's gonna stay. But with that iron, it's gonna shift just a little bit, and we're just practicing that first move. And you can see, just like the Ben Hogan swing, which he did it all the way down to here, we're just maintaining that angle, which maintains this angle up here between the shaft and our forearm, right there. And once we got that done, and we get that feeling, go ahead and hit a couple shots. Get comfortable with it. You know, do repetitions of getting that feeling, and then hit some shots. You know, repetitions again, hit some shots. So we just build in that pattern into our golf swing. So another great drill you can do to help with that cast is, because we're trying to maintain that box on the downswing by using that lead hip to keep the box. When we're at the top of the backswing, we can take our lead hand and put it right behind the elbow like that. Now when we take practice swings to the top, that elbow will stay in front. It'll be in a nice solid position. See it there? Nice solid position. And then from there, we just kind of hold that position, and we just go back and forth using that lead hip to initiate the downswing. And then we can practice releasing. Just get some pumps going. 1, 2, 3, and then release going through. And one of my students, Matt's going to demonstrate that for us really quick, so you can see him in action. So another great drill we can do from the top is just a pause. Hideki Maruyama does this on the PGA Tour as almost a normal golf swing. So what we're gonna do is just take the club to the top of the swing, we're gonna pause, and then we're gonna swing from there. That will help initiate the lower body because you don't have the ability to just throw the hands in that position, from that position. A variation from this drill that I really enjoy, which I've done in the past, I've shown you guys, is we take it to the top of the swing, we go 1 to the top, make the transition, holding on to that box, holding on to that angle there, and now we swing through for 3. So it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And that gets that initial move coming from that hip, just like Ben Hogan talked about. And we'll show Matt here doing the exact same thing up in the corner. Golfers, practice those drills. Make them a part of your routine, and golf will get easier. I promise you, you will not throw away the energy out of the top of the swing. You won't see that casting motion that you watch me do in fly fishing to release the energy up here. We want to make that casting motion down here through the hitting zone. So we got to hold on to that angle and this angle till we get down to that pocket. Then the release will happen. Thank you, golfers, for watching this week. If you got anything out of this, hit that subscribe button. I put out videos once a week and just trying to help all the golfers out there get better at this game. Remember, if your feet aren't working, your swing's not working. I'll catch you guys next time.